and talk about what could happen today because the DA actually has several options. BJ Bernstein is a defense attorney not connected to the Roethlisberger case, but she's here to help us sort out everything. BJ, thank you for your time. Let's talk about what options the DA has because it's a little more complicated than people actually realize.
Well, his options are there could be an arrest warrant and Ben is arrested.
Okay.
Second choice is to actually present the case to a grand jury and let the grand jurors, which are 26 people from the community, decide if there's probable cause to arrest. Or the third choice would be just to dismiss it outright. And based on how the prosecutor is doing this, which is by a press conference at 2 o'clock, it was announced last week, I really doubt that he's sending it to a grand jury because that could actually influence a grand jury. And it sounds like to me he's made a decision and we're going to hear that decision today. And we haven't heard any rumors of Ben being arrested, so I think it's most likely a dismissal.
How do you get to a dismissal or deciding whether or not to press charges without talking to the accused? Because what we're hearing, BJ, is that it doesn't seem that Ben Roethlisberger ever gave any DNA or ever talked to police. And from the outside looking in, that seems like that's something that happens when you have rich attorneys. But you're telling me that that's not always the case.
Absolutely not. Because remember, he hasn't even been arrested yet. And you have the right to remain silent. And that's a very important right, not because you're guilty and you're trying to get away from something, but because you want the police to focus on the state's evidence, which is what can they prove in this case? Do they even have probable cause? And if this prosecutor says he's dismissing it, he's saying, I don't even have enough to even arrest him, much less get a conviction down the road. And insofar as what I understand, apparently the officers briefly spoke to Ben that evening, so apparently they have something that he said, and that would have been the most recent thing in time to whatever. And truthfully, no good lawyer, and no one should really talk to the police without an attorney. That's the ideal. Really, this is going to be based on what is the evidence or lack of evidence that the state has.
Okay. The charges and the allegations are sexual assault. Without going into too much detail, BJ, people automatically assume that that means one specific thing, but sexual assault is a big term.
Yeah, and it's not actually a legal term. There's all different types of crimes, for instance, in Georgia. It could have been anything from as low as a misdemeanor, such as simple battery or sexual battery and improper touching, to something far more serious, such as rape or aggravated sodomy charges or something like that, which would carry 25 years in prison. So that's why everybody getting excited about, well, what about the DNA? Where's the DNA? You know, almost most sexual assault cases, you don't have DNA evidence. It's certain types of sexual acts may not leave DNA. And DNA is really used in a case where you don't know the person involved, as opposed to here where they're saying it was two people in a bar who were seen together that evening. The question really is what happened, if anything.
Okay, BJ, stick around. We certainly need your expertise on this. Defense attorney BJ Bernstein. We appreciate it. And 2 o'clock is when we're going to have some answers.
Absolutely. Thank you.